y'all. Hope you're having a good day so far. It's probably about, what, 5 o'clock in the morning. You're starting your homeschool day. That's most homeschoolers I know get up about that time. I'm sure you're among one of those. Okay, yeah. Might be 5:30, if you've done your exercising, milking your goats, drawing out your peppermint oil and stuff like that. So anyway, all right. Today we got an interesting little problem set and lesson today we're going to do. It's called expanded notation. Expanded means, kind of expanded. Notation means the way you write something, the way it's noted, the way it is written out. So you tell me the value of the 7 in this number. It's in the tens place, right? Which means that the value of that is 70, right? So that's 7 times 10. We know that these are ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, and so on. The value in this number is 700, right? 7 hundredths. The value in this number is just 7, right? Because it's in the ones place. Okay, we're going to use this information to write numbers in expanded notation. And we'll do back and forth. They'll give you one in expanded notation, and you'll write it as one of these numbers right there. By the way, you could do this right now. You could pull, somebody said to you, what's the 3 worth? What's the 4 worth? What's the 6 worth? In other words, what are the values of all those? You could do the same thing. So we have 3 times 1,000, 4 times 100, 6 times 10, and 7 times 1, right? That's the value of each one of those. So we're going to write 257 in expanded notation. Now the way you do this is you just go, okay, well, the value of the 2 is 2 hundredths. So you're going to write these parentheses, just write 2 times 100. Now I use a dot there. Don't forget we can use dots now instead of just X's. And we're going to add 5 times what? 10, right? Because that's 10's place. Plus, I'm sure you can do the last one. 1 times 7. There you go. Actually, that should be, we'll do 7 times 1 to kind of make it match the rest. And there you go. That's 257 in expanded notation. Try another one. We're going to go backwards this time. Write 5 times 1,000 plus 2 times 100 plus 8 times 10 in standard notation. What would it be? Well, if you ever get stuck in this, by the way, and there are ones missing, because they're going to give you ones that don't have, they'll give you ones that have 10 million, and then they don't have anything except, and again, until the thousands. So they won't give you one that has every single digit with something in there, but it's okay. If you have some long number like that, you can just I'll give you an example. If you have 5 times 1,000, 2 times 100, 8 times 10, well, you can just sit there and go backwards. So these are the ones, these are the tens, these are the hundreds, these are the thousands. So it's 5 times 1,000, just put 5 in the thousands. 2 times 100, that's the hundreds. 8 times 10 will be 8. You can't just leave it that. That's 528. That's way less than 5 times 1,000. So you just put for the ones as 0. And there you go. That's all there is to it. Okay. All right. Elapsed time problems we're going to have. What's the difference between AM and PM? It's both Latin, by the way. AM means what? It's before noon, right? That means ante-meridian in Latin. And it's post-meridian. Post is after, ante is before. So AM, of course, is like up until noon, and then PM is afternoon. That's why they call it afternoon. All right? So let's do one. Ed began his Saxon math homework at 5:30 a.m., just a little later than you get up usually. He finished at 1:45 p.m. How long did he work on his math homework? Well, you can do this in a couple of ways. You can count from 5:30 a.m. to 1:45 or whatever. Now, a lot of guys in military will say things like, what time is grub? Oh, it's 500 hours, which means 5 in the morning. And they'll say, oh, what time's dinner tonight? They'll go 1,800 hours. 1,800? What in the world? I thought the clock only went up to 12. Well, what they're doing is they're saying, well, out of the day, like let's say, dawn, after midnight the night before, like 12:01 that's 1. So let's say 500 is 5 a.m. Well, they would say, of course, 1200 is noon. And then 1800, that would be 6 hours after the 12, right? Because 18 minus 12 is 6. So this is the same thing as saying like 6 p.m. So if you said 2,300 hours, well, that'd be the same thing as 5 hours after the 18. 6 plus 5 is 11, so that'd be 11 p.m. You can use that kind of thing if you want on these elapsed time problems. So if it's 1:45 p.m., you can treat this like that'd be 13:45, right? We can just call it that, 13:45, right? Because 13 is 1 after 12, 1:45 p.m. You can do a subtraction problem, write down excuse me, if you want to, just subtract 5:30 as if it's like this. So 45 minus 30 is 15. 13 minus 5 is 8. So Ed finished his Saxon homework in only 8 hours and 15 minutes. It's awesome. Okay, it's about the same time. It's 8 hours. Okay, all fractions are division. Okay, all right. Here's a strange one though. Jane went shopping for clothes at 7:20 p.m. and finished at 11:05 p.m. How long did she shop? Now, if you do this, let's do it I don't know, you can do it whatever way you want, but let's say we did it this way, 11:05 minus 7:20. You could look at this and go, wait a minute, I can't do this certain way like we did the last one. It doesn't quite work with a 45 and the 30 and so on. It's kind of strange. You can go, well, the 5 doesn't subtract from the 20. And then you can either do it on the military time we just did a minute ago, or we can do it this way, like a borrowing. Now remember, if you do things like this, and you have something like 71 minus 46, you can't just go, oh, that's 1 minus, oh, we can't do that. We have to borrow 10 from there. There's a 6, and there's 11. 11 minus 6 is 5. 6 minus 4 is 2. Excuse me. Same thing here. If you want to borrow something, you're going to have to borrow from here. And this is going to be an hour you're going to borrow. So what will happen is this. You will say to yourself, okay, I'm borrowing an hour from 11, so that'll just be 10 hours there. Now you have 5 minutes you're starting out with. What is an hour? How many minutes? Well, of course, it's 60, right? So instead of, you're going to add 60 to this 5. So what you can do is you can just say 65 instead of just 5. Now we can just go ahead and subtract straight down. 65 minus 20 is 45. 10 minus 7 is 3. So Jane went shopping for clothes for 3 hours and 45 minutes. Probably that's a short day. Couldn't have been a Hobby Lobby. My wife and daughters spend too many hours at Hobby Lobby. So anyway, all right. What time is it? 2.5 hours after 11:46 a.m. Well, same thing here. We're just going to add 11:46 a.m. and we're going to add 2.5 hours. So how many minutes is half an hour? 30 minutes, right? We're going to go right down. That's 6. 4 plus 3 is 7. 11 plus 2 is 13. Now, nobody goes around saying, oh, it's 1376, okay? First off, this is more than 60, okay? In other words, nobody goes around saying, hey, how long did you run in the race? Oh, 76, minutes. People are going to say, well, wait a minute. That's how many, So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into an hour in minutes. Of course, 60 minutes is an hour. 76 minutes is the same thing as 1 hour and 16 minutes. So we'll just add the hour here. Now, 14:16, that's not a good answer. So after 11:46 a.m., you know from that little military timer thing we did. Noon is 12, right? So 2 more from 12 would be 2, like 14. So that's 2:16 p.m. There you go. Okay. All right. Give the practice set a whirl. And that is on page 170. So A through G, give it a whirl. Okay, let's talk together. A, B, and C are all taking numbers and putting it into expanded notation. Yours should look like that. D, that is pretty clear, 4 times 100. And this E is the one that's strange. You might have been like, what? There's no 10 in there. And again, if that ever happens, and they're going to put other doozies on you that have like, million and then nothing until the ones. So just, if you ever get confused, just go, okay, ones, tens, hundreds. You can do that if you want. You can stop right there on E because that's the biggest one you have is 100. So 5 times 1 would be this. You could say 7 times 100 would be that. And then there's nothing there. Just put 705. There we go. Okay, F. George started the marathon 17:15 a.m. after he had done 2 hours of Saxon math. He finished at 11:05 a.m. How long did it take him? 3 hours, 50 minutes. Now, if you wanted to do this, 11:05 minus 7:15, you can do that. But of course, you don't want to you can't take 15 away from 5, so you borrow 1 from there. There's 10. This will turn into 65. 65 minus 15 is 50. 10 minus 7 is 30. There we go. The last one, 3.5 hours after 11:50 p.m., you can do the same thing. 11:50 plus 3.5 hours, that's this. That'll be 80 minutes on the right. That'll be 14 here. Nobody says 80 minutes. You say an hour and 20 minutes. So add the hour here and then the 20 minutes there. Now you can look at this and go 15. Noon is 12. So 13, 14, 15. That's 3:20 p.m. There you go. Okay. Do a good job today. Have fun. Take care of those, goats and essential oils. See you next time.